I just got home from work on Wednesday, May 15th, and I am kind of screwed on the video that I'm going to be making for Friday. In short order, I literally got addicted to Hades 2, on top of being addicted to Balatro, and I procrastinated the shit out of it. So that Philo Tactic Spiral video is not going to be coming until probably next week. So in the meantime, I figured I would do a react to the dev insights that they posted today. See, and then if there's anything in the TWID tomorrow, I'll put that at the end here as well. But this is really easy to crank out, and I want to be consistent in my 2 videos a week thing. So thank you for watching. I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, this dev insights, this final shape weapon tuning preview. We're gonna talk about it. I've seen a very small amount of things Cool had mentioned, and I've seen a little bit of some screenshots on Twitter, but I figured I would just give my take on some of these things and I'll live react to it as well. So, let's see. Hey Guardians, weapons team here. There's a lot to go through. Comprehensive PvE weapon damage pass to exotics changes, reworks to minor tweaks, and outliers for world's first. Back in 6.3, we rolled a set of spec mods, Dragonfly Surrounded and Rampage, into the base functionality of those perks, and now we're coming for the rest of the spec mods. So they're getting rid of Boss Spec, Taken Spec, Minor, Major, and Adept Big One Spec. Why? Is it because they're overused? Because all that really does is make it so Backup Mag becomes the best boss damage option. I don't know. Is this to make it, like, literally, like, I'm curious, is this because they're overused? Because I just don't understand why that's happening. I mean, the mod system kind of needs an overhaul entirely, or to be completely honest, I think it should just be removed. Because the mod system, aside from adept mods being really important on adept weapons, I think the mod system is not really engaging because there are clear winners. Cool did mention this, but no one's using radar tuner in PvE over boss spec. I just don't see how this does anything but shift the problem over and just remove a little bit of the potential options, like the difference between Taken Spec and Boss Spec being dependent on the content you were doing, right? Like, now it just becomes backup mag across the board. I don't think this change does anything but make the problem worse and more focused, but alright. So the exotic and trace rifle damage bonus is down from 40 to 30%, except for Fighting Lion. Okay. Included below are the matching damage changes by weapon archetype. Note that we made some exceptions for exotic weapons that were already performing. God damn it! That were already performing strongly and applied some buffs just to specific tiers of enemies. Oh, okay. Well, since they can't do mods, they get a larger relative buff than legendaries. For example, Risk Runner's maximum possible damage is increased by 10% versus red bars, but Shayura's is increased by 3%. Because it can no longer slot a minor spec mod. So, 20% increase to PvE damage against all combatants with pulse rifles, except for Graviton and Revision Zero's heavy burst mode. So the light burst is going to have an extra buff on top of it, but Graviton and Revision already have the intrinsic PvE damage buff built in. Okay. Pellets got a 10% buff, except for Legend, Tractor, Conditional, and Fourth Horseman. I didn't realize the Tractor was actually a pellet. Like, I didn't think it had multiple projectiles. I thought it was like a cone of just damage, but I guess that makes sense. Probably that's how it has to be. Slugs got a 9% increase. Do we think that's gonna be enough for Philo? Philo? What's the fucking slug called? Yeah, first and last out. That's right. First and last out to be like top tier again? Probably not. What boss encounters are using slugs? I can't think of any that I'm doing regularly, so not that big of a deal. Fusion's got a 7% buff. Snipers are getting a buff. Is that going to be enough to make them matter? That plus the rapid buff that they got recently might be really good. Maybe that's worth it. Glaives are getting a buff, and linears are getting a buff. Do those become damage meta dealing weapons again? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they're not awful already, so who knows? Let's see. Sidearms, traces, scouts, and bows are getting a 20% damage boost versus minors on top of the base PvE damage increase because of the removal of the specs. Got it. Alright, cool. Autos and pulses got a 15% buff. For example, pulses will do 1.2 times 1.11. Sorry, 1.2 times 1.15 to a... Pulses will do 38% more damage to red bars. Should I zoom this in? I should zoom this in. How do I zoom this in? How the fuck do you zoom in on Opera? That's how. Hell yeah, I should restart. I'm not going to. Subs are getting a 10% buff, hand cannons a 5%. Do they need a buff? Like, I feel like hand cannons are doing really good already, I guess. Traces are getting better at killing majors, including PvP. MGs and swords are getting a 7% buff. I think this really only affects rapids for machine guns. Swords, it does nothing. Maybe it kills supers easier, but heavy attacks already do that, so. This is great right here. Splash damage from add clear exotic primary weapons was overperforming in the final shape when combined with the damage buffs listed above, so we pulled it down slightly in a handful of weapons. I'm gonna be real, it's already overperforming before the final shape. Like, Sunshot and Trinity... Sunshot and Trinity Ghoul. I like how these two are up here, right? They're already really fucking good. Polaris, everyone's using it. I don't like it, but everyone I keep seeing using it, right? So that's up there. Although that's more for, I guess, dealing consistent boss damage at a range. I don't know. Cringe-ass scout rifle. And Graviton, I don't see it a lot, but whenever I do see it, people are going apeshit with the projectiles that it spawns doing those explosions. So, like, these are already really strong. So maybe they're super duper strong in TFS? I don't know. These could be nerfed and not get this buff, and I think it would be fine, right? Like, I think it would end up being okay. Let's see. Sub releases back. We gave kinetic weapons a substantial damage bonus in PvE to account for it being harder to use them in subclass builds. In general, we're okay with leaving this in place until we have a better defined role for kinetic weapons, but the bonus damage versus boss tier combatants is making it hard for weapons of other damage types to compete. I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest. I did not know that was a thing. The only kinetic weapon I use for boss damage is Malfeasance? I'm thinking, like, what else do I use? There was a time where I used the Stasis Sniper from the early Cabal season, one of the first weapons we could craft. There was a time when I used that a lot, but it's been a while since then. I don't know, whatever. I wonder if it'll even matter, though, because, like, I'm thinking about kinetic weapons for DPS, right? You've got Izanagi's, you've got Malfeasance. What else do you have? Is there a kinetic slug that we want to use? That's not... So, what other kinetic weapons are being used for boss damage? I can't think of any. Let's ask Cool Dude. Cool Dude ended up saying Witherhorde, which I cannot believe I forgot about, because I guess I'm an idiot. He also said Outbreak, which I don't think I care about, to be honest with you. Supremacy came up as well, and I think that I should have remembered that, especially considering I commented recently on his infinite mag-size Supremacy. And then he also mentioned Warden's Law being stronger than Malfeasance unless the target is taken and debuffed by Witherhorde. There are other kinetic damage options, but also he thinks that this change isn't really going to do a whole lot, so I guess I'm correct. At least according to Mr. Cool Dude, who is the arbiter of meta damage slaving stuff, so hell yeah. Aggressive hand cannons struggle to compete with stats of top tier examples like Igneous. Huh. So with Crimel's Dagger and something new returning in the final shape, we updated their stats. Crimel's Dagger got a... Will I care about the Crimel's Dagger? Probably fucking not, because I don't like the way that weapon feels. But maybe the stability and handling will boost it. These seem significant too. Like, this is 8 extra stability and handling. One mag is whatever. The AE is probably important, but I don't care. But 8 extra stats to both of these, like, that's pretty fucking strong. Something new I did not care for. Because it didn't justify itself. So I don't think this stat change is going to matter. I might eat my words in a couple of weeks, but we'll see. Primal's might be. Primal's Dagger might be good. We'll have to take a look at that when it pops around. LFRs. Adaptive Burst Linears, they did it, are strong, but they're hard to control. That's the point. They're supposed to be, like, is that not the point? I want, like, they hit like a truck, but they're hard to control. I guess they're easier to use now, whatever. Waveframe GLs deal competitive damage as of the D2 Into the Light update, but some stats of these didn't have a gameplay effect. In this pass, we're adjusting the blast radius. Oh, so blast radius doesn't actually do anything on these. That's funny, I thought it did. I'm an idiot. The size of the wave is now affected by the blast radius stat. This will mostly impact the width of the wave, though the length and height will also be scaled. I wonder what it means by height. Ooh, because we're having flying enemies, so it's going to be a... I kind of want waveframes to not be able to affect flying enemies, gonna be honest. I like it if it runs along the ground. Oh yes, special ammo waveframes overperform as add clear weapons in their current state. So we pulled the length of the wave back a little. It went from 22 to 15 meters, except for Dead Messenger. Okay, so it doesn't go as far. So you have to be closer to use it. 7 meters is a decent chunk, but I feel like it's not going to actually affect them that much unless we're doing other changes. And I know they're changing chain reaction to not be as strong, so maybe we'll actually feel this. but I'm not sure. All right, exotics. Divinity. Divinity's ability to bypass combatant gameplay by generating a weak spot called a cage internally on command has too high an uptime as it stands. 75% increase the shot requirement? That's wild. That's a lot. That's a lot of ammo use. Ooh, that's a lot of ammo use. I still think Divinity is going to be in the same place because it's the only weapon that does what it does, where it makes it so you are better able to hit the target and deal damage to it. So I think that's fine, but that's a lot of ammo consumption. Rat King's firing animation makes the weapon harder to control at a high rate of fire, so we've updated it. I don't know, I kind of like the fact that it looked fucking stupid. Like, I think the best part of Rat King was when everybody used it and it just looked really dumb, like the animation was breaking. I think it was a lot of fun. Fair enough, I guess. Symmetry needed a little attention, so it gets an extra 10 reload and 10 handling. And it also gets the Eddy Current perk on top of its other stuff with the catalyst. What does Eddy Current do? Temporarily increases reload speed after sprinting. This effect is improved when you are amplified. Cool. Touch and Malice's burn from the darkness ball didn't last long enough to be useful in PvE, so now it's going from 2 to 3.5 seconds. Dude, why can't people just, like, not slam their fucking foot on the gas going down my street? Why? It's Touch and Malice. I don't need to repeat it. Whatever. Ostia Striga made it too easy to spread poison across the whole encounter from a couple of kills of weak combatants. That's a wordy sentence. Now there's a 4-second cooldown on the poison burst on kills. I mean, good. Osteo is so brain dead. It's so easy to just fucking tape the trigger down, or you don't have to think with Osteo. I get that's kind of the point, but Osteo is so boring to me. While the Lament's damage is roughly equivalent to other swords, the healing on hit largely removes the intended downside of using a sword for boss DPS, and the chained heavy attack was too strong. Wait, so they just made it so it's not as good in general. Alright, so 20% reduced healing effect. Did Lament need a nerf? It's an exotic sword. You kind of have to commit. And it really is only useful in specific encounters. I don't know. I don't think Lament needed a nerf. Dead Man's Tale. Why? We're touching Dead Man's Tale again. Alright, so is it a buff or a nerf? Because every time they change this fucking gun, it goes from being useless to being the most frustrating thing in the world to fight against. Ah, they're buffing it. Okay, get ready to see this everywhere, guys. Get ready to see it everywhere. God damn it. Colony's fantasy of spawning self-replicating insectoid robots is something we've wanted to juice for a while now. This update allows the colony to deal with waves of combatants in a unique way. Now spawns additional insectoid robots on final blows. Up to 5 spawn from tougher combatants. This is gonna be so annoying in PvP. So what, like a Guardian counts for like either 2 or 3? So you shoot one, and it 1-taps a motherfucker, or I guess it 2-taps, because I don't think it can 1-tap right now. And then that chains into more. If they can chain indefinitely, this honestly might make it really good in PvE. Like this is the heavy for ad clear. The heavy GL for ad clear anyway. Oh, Dylan's gonna love this. Power from Cerberus +1's focus fire perk from the Catalyst was limited by it always being available. We've changed this to only being available following a kill, allowing us to increase its strength. Focus fire will now activate on special reloads following a kill and will no longer reduce range or rate of fire. Ooh. Ariana's vow has fallen behind. Because, of course it has. So now, breaking a solar shield or piercing with a champ's barrier, will cause the target to ignite. That's cool. Will it matter? I mean, it becomes the barrier champ killer. Now, whether or not that, once again, matters, because there's so many other options for killing champs, I will see, but interesting. Deterministic Chaos didn't have a clear niche when it shipped, so we redesigned it to be an anti-champion weapon and a weakening powerhouse. What? Why? Alacrity working in solo activities is intended, but it's too strong a perk to have 100% uptime in PvP. Will no longer work in Rumble. Why? That was fine. Nobody cared. Nobody fucking cared. Yeah, it was fucking frustrating, but nobody fucking cared. I don't like that. I think that's dumb. What are you gonna use instead? One quiet moment? On your fucking Shira? No, you're not. Alright. Osmosis and Tessellation now match the type of your equipped grenade. I assume this is for Prismatic. That way they don't fuck you. Permeability and EC now match the type of your equipped super. Yeah, these two are for Prismatic, specifically. Okay, that's cool. Deconstruct. I hate this perk. Good, they're nerfing it, so it no longer generates ammo out of thin fucking air. Good. Thank you. Good. All in all, a couple of things I'm questionable on. Like, chain reaction getting nerfed? Love that. Absolutely. Archer's Gambit? Who cares? The alacrity change? Sucks. I understand this is a problem, but it isn't a problem that matters. So, why are we doing that? I don't know, whatever. I don't even use weapons with alacrity in Rumble. Whatever. Deterministic Chaos needed a buff, so that's pretty cool. Dylan Embedded's excited about the Cerberus change. Colony change, I think, is going to be really funny. That's going to be really funny. Please stop buffing DMT. Please stop it. Let it be just fine. Let it be useless. I don't like it when it's strong. I don't think Lament needed a nerf. Div change is going to be interesting. It either is going to do everything or it's going to do nothing. Yeah, I mean, that was everything that kind of caught my eye. I don't know why we're not undoing the Rocket Choclip nerf, but it just means it's not a good perk at all on Rockets. Like, it's just useless. It's just a bad perk. Oh, well. But yeah, if you got any other opinions, if you think that I am wrong on my interpretation of what these changes actually mean, or if they're going to be a lot more significant than I think, let me know in the comments down below. Alright, so here we are the next day, and I want to take a look at the TWAB, just see if there's anything important. They do talk about perk enhancement and the way it's going to work. They're going to allow you to upgrade to receive enhanced traits. We all knew that this was coming. It's going to cost, I don't know, I'm hoping that this isn't all it costs, but sure. There's like 3 different tiers. They require weapon levels, or at least tier 2 and tier 3 require at least a weapon level for them, and they make the stats better, and also like enhances which column. So at level 17 you enhance column 4, at level 11 you enhance column 3. And here's the list of the weapons they're going to allow to be enhanced. So we got the Vow of the Disciple, Raid Adepts, Guardian Games weapons, which okay. Kingsfall, Raid Adepts, yeah, we knew about that. Gambit weapons, sure. Competitive Crucible, all of them. Crucible, Trials, Iron Banner, Vanguard Ops, Nightfalls, and Prophecy dungeon weapons. Not other dungeon weapons, just Prophecy. That's weird. Due to some technical constraints, there are a handful of weapons instances. There are a handful of weapons instances from before Season 17 that have origin traits and are active drops, but they will not be eligible for weapon enhancement. If they get reissued, they will be. And then the other thing was mementos. So they're increasing the stat cap limit from 1 to 3. And you can also apply weapons directly to weapons. Good. Honestly, the only thing that I care about is this. They can be stored with my consumables, they could be separate from this, but the fact that I can hold more than 1 at a time in a stack, I think is really fucking important. Alright, that's it for the TWID that I care about. There's some Pantheon updates. There's a comic. That's cool, I guess. The only thing that matters to me is the enhancement update and the memento stuff. So, alright. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.